Here's to the ones who see things differently. Because while most people would look at a 65 lakh rupee Kia and say, why? A few will say, why not? Because that is the 2024 Kia Carnival. It's refreshed inside and out. And while it's not for everyone, maybe it is for you.
The Carnival is for the misfits. It's actually a misfit itself, and I mean that in the best way possible. A van wrapped in limousine luxury for those who don't want to follow the herd that's buying SUVs. It's for the ones who want space and substance for the whole family. It is a step outside the box.
And it's when you step inside this box that you realize how much further this party has moved. If you're a creature of comfort, well, there's plenty of creature comforts for you, including heating and ventilation for these captain chairs, great speakers, soft headrests, and an electronically extendable thigh support, which is just brilliant.
Whether you're short enough not to be allowed on roller coasters or a 5'11" adult like me, as long as there's only John Cena in the front, you can actually get your legs up and stretch, and because the seat base itself also tilts back, it is incredibly comfortable to sit in.
And since this car is about as long as Fernando Alonso's career, you can start a real estate business from right here. Speaking of business, the boss sitting in this left rear seat can move the front seat out of the way pretty easily, but then you will need to hire someone else to change the AC temperature for you, because the controls for that are mounted all the way there.
Bit of a miss, but walk the narrow path between the middle row to the third row, and one thing you won't miss is space. There's more knee room than most full-size 3-row SUVs offer, even those north of a crore with a 7 or an S at the end of their name. Another thing it one-ups them on is sunblinds for the third row.
There's also AC vents, charging ports and cup holders back there, so while the second row may be first class, the third row isn't really that bad either. But what about the captain driving this thing?
It's a step forward here too. It's modern, premium, comfortable. Driving the Carnival no longer feels like you're missing out on the party in the back.
The revised steering map means that you're still aware of the small ship that you're maneuvering, but it's much easier to place in a sea of traffic. The updated suspension setup, on the other hand, means that at highway speeds it doesn't wave or float nearly as much as it did before, so it's just a nicer experience for everyone.
It also gets ADAS, which is personally not on my essentials list in our country, but the 360-degree cameras and blind spot monitors are yet another step in making this much easier to drive.
And unlike tall, big SUVs, the Carnival has a relatively lower center of gravity, which means it doesn't aggressively pitch its nose down every time you touch the brakes. It's no GT3 RS, but thanks to the torque of the diesel engine, the smoothness of the automatic and the fantastic visibility all around, you can actually drive this thing without having to get paid for it.
And it's not like your luggage needs to be driven in another car, because even with 3 rows up, there's plenty of room in the deep boot. The third row folds away either partially or fully, and with it out of the way, you don't just have enough space to move houses, you have more space than some houses.
A van is about as cool as a bag of bricks, but a 3-row vehicle with comfortable seating for 4, excluding the first row, and still space for luggage is harder to get than tickets to Coldplay. So while some may see this purchase as unconventional, maybe even a little bit crazy, it's the ones who think different that truly push the boundaries. So here's to the rebels, the round pegs in the square holes. Because if you are crazy enough to think a Kia can offer luxury, refinement and space to rival brands and cars twice its price, well, then you're probably right. Okay, if you didn't notice, this script, at least the start and end of it, is inspired by Apple's iconic Crazy Ones ad. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. It is inspirational. And if you too are a crazy one, someone who stands out from the crowd, a rebel, shout out to you. Stay different.